Let's face it, love makes us blind. We fall fast, we ignore red flags, and sometimes we choose someone who ends up draining our peace, purpose, and power. In this video, I'll reveal 6 dangerous signs that you're making a stupid relationship choice, one that could ruin not just your heart, but your life. Let's dive into some painful truths and Stoic clarity most people never tell you. Sign 1. You ignore their disrespect. There's a quiet moment where your gut twists, but you brush it off. She cuts you off mid-sentence, makes you the butt of the joke in front of her friends, or rolls her eyes when you talk about something that matters to you. It stings. But instead of standing up for yourself, you laugh it off, you minimize it. You convince yourself, she's just being playful, or I'm probably overreacting. Brother, wake up, that's not play. That's poison disguised as passion. And every time you ignore that sting, you're training your soul to accept being belittled. This is not about ego. This is about dignity. Stoicism teaches us that our peace is an internal fortress, and only a fool hands the keys to someone who mocks what he values. Epictetus reminds us, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. But here's the nuance. If you repeatedly allow someone to violate your boundaries, your opinion becomes your prison. You stop defending yourself, and soon you stop valuing yourself. You become a shadow of who you once were, tamed, silenced, ashamed. Disrespect tolerated as self-betrayal. And no real man thrives in a relationship where his spirit is slowly being bled out through 1,000 subtle cuts. If she doesn't respect your words, your values, or your silence, she doesn't deserve your presence. Love without respect is control, and a Stoic man does not submit to control. He leads with reason, walks with pride, and speaks not to impress, but to be understood. If someone can't respect that, let them go, because your peace is too precious to bargain with. Sign 2. You're always trying to fix them. One of the most dangerous traps men fall into is the hero complex. You meet someone who's wounded, broken, or emotionally chaotic, and something deep inside you believes you're supposed to save them. You mistake their chaos for depth. You convince yourself that your love, your presence, your patience will be the cure to all their pain. You tell yourself, they just need someone to believe in them. But here's the brutal truth. You're not a rehab center for emotional dysfunction. You're a man, not a martyr. And pouring your soul into someone who's not willing to do the work themselves isn't noble. It's self-destruction. Let's get real. You are not their therapist. You are not their father. And if you become either, the relationship is already broken. Love isn't about fixing someone, it's about growing with someone. If they don't take responsibility for their own healing, your efforts will become a bottomless pit. You'll give and give and give until you're a shell of the man you once were. And then you'll realize you were never loving them. You were loving their potential. But potential doesn't pay the rent. Reality does. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That quote hits hard here. Stop dreaming about who they could be. Start seeing who they are. If she doesn't want to grow, doesn't own her flaws, doesn't show even a flicker of self-awareness, then staying isn't loyalty. It's self-betrayal. You can't build a future with someone who refuses to meet you in the present. Remember this. A real man doesn't lose himself trying to complete someone else. He protects his peace, he guards his soul, and he walks away when his purpose is being drained for someone else's dysfunction. Sign 3. You feel more drained than energized. Love in its highest form should be a source of strength, a fire that warms you, not one that scorches your soul. But when you find yourself constantly fatigued, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what you're in isn't love. It's a slow, daily erosion of your masculinity. A relationship that drains you is like a leech on your soul, feeding off your energy, while giving you nothing in return but confusion and anxiety. You begin each day hoping for peace but end up managing chaos. That's not connection. That's survival. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In a toxic relationship, you're always craving clarity, craving respect, craving moments of calm between storms. And in that craving, you become poor. Not in money, but in spirit. Think about it. After spending time with her, do you feel recharged? Or do you feel like you've just run an emotional marathon while she stood still? If your peace is always sacrificed for her comfort, then what you have isn't love. It's enslavement with a pretty face. A Stoic man must ask himself, does this relationship make me a better version of myself? Or is it slowly making me forget who I am? When silence starts feeling safer than their voice, when you feel relief when they leave rather than joy when they arrive, brother, that's not love. That's emotional warfare. A queen does not make her king bleed to prove her worth. Real love is calm. It sharpens you, not shatters you. It builds your fortress, not breaks it down. A woman who truly loves you will be your peace, not your battle. So look within, and if the cost of being with her is yourself, then it's time to walk away like a Stoic warrior would. Quietly, decisively, with your dignity intact. Sign 4. You're afraid to be alone. Let's face it, most men don't stay in toxic relationships because of love. They stay because they're scared. Scared of silence, scared of empty beds, scared of facing the mirror with no distractions. But fear is a liar. It convinces you that misery is safer than solitude. And that's where men break themselves, by clinging to something that's already dead, just to avoid being alone. The truth is, loneliness isn't the enemy. Misalignment is. A relationship built on fear of solitude is no relationship at all. It's decage. It's choosing emotional scraps just to feel full. Think of a man who stays with a woman who disrespects him, drains him, or belittles his ambitions. He doesn't stay because he's blind. He stays because he's afraid no one else will come along. But that fear makes him forget who he is. He trades his peace for proximity. And that's a deal a real man should never make. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's not just poetic, it's power. It means your soul is your sanctuary, not some relationship that barely holds together. The Stoics embraced solitude because they knew it's where your strength sharpens. So if you're in something just because you're scared to start over, wake up. That silence you fear, that might be the battlefield where you finally reclaim your self-worth. Don't just settle to avoid the echo of your own thoughts. That echo might be your soul calling you back. Sign 5. You sacrifice your core values. There's a quiet kind of betrayal that doesn't come from others, but from within. It happens the moment you silence your instincts, ignore your standards, and start making excuses for behavior that goes against everything you believe in. Maybe you value loyalty, but she flirts with other men and calls it harmless fun. You believe in honesty, but she lies and justifies it as keeping the peace. You respect your time, but she shows up late, cancels plans, or keeps you in emotional limbo. And still you stay, hoping, compromising, shrinking. This is the slow erosion of a man's identity, when you start trading in your values for temporary connection. You think you're saving the relationship, but what you're really doing is burning the bridge back to yourself. Stoicism teaches that virtue is the highest good, not pleasure, not approval, not comfort. Epictetus said it plainly. Know, first, who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. If you're compromising who you are for someone who refuses to meet you at your level, you're not in love. You're in self-abandonment. Here's the raw truth. You can't build something real with someone who doesn't honor your reality. A Stoic man doesn't chase chaos just because it wears a pretty face or whispers sweet apologies. He walks with integrity, even if it means walking alone. Love should elevate your soul, not bury your backbone. And if you keep giving up parts of yourself just to avoid being alone, one day you'll wake up and realize you're not even there anymore. You've become a ghost in your own life. Remember, it's better to stand alone in truth than to sleep beside someone who demands your silence. Sign 6. You confuse intensity with love. There's a dangerous lie many men fall for, especially when they've grown up around dysfunction or have unresolved wounds. The lie is this: if it's not intense, it's not real. So they find themselves in relationships where every day feels like a battlefield. One minute you're screaming at each other, the next you're passionately making up, and for a while it feels alive, electric, addictive. But what you're really caught in is emotional whiplash, a toxic loop that confuses chaos for connection. That's not love. That's trauma playing dress up. It's your past pain reintroducing itself through a new face. Think about it. If the only time you feel deeply connected to someone is during a crisis or after a meltdown, is that connection or survival bonding? It's like being in a house that's always on fire and calling the adrenaline passion, but eventually that fire burns everything to the ground. Real love, the kind worth building a life around, isn't found in volatility. It's found in stability. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. That applies to love too. Calmness in a relationship isn't weakness, it's strength. It's two people who don't need to destroy each other to feel something. If your heart only beats faster when there's yelling, jealousy, or emotional games, you're not in love. You're in withdrawal. You're addicted to the emotional spikes that mimic connection but leave you emptier over time. A Stoic man doesn't chase high drama. He values high character. He understands that true intimacy is found in trust, presence, and consistency, not in the aftermath of chaos. Peace isn't boring, it's mature. And if it feels foreign to you, maybe it's time to unlearn what you once called love and rebuild from something wiser. Because, as Seneca said, no man was ever wise by chance, and no love becomes healthy by accident. It's a daily choice, a discipline, a higher standard. Conclusion: choosing the wrong person can cost you years, your peace, your energy, even your sense of self. Don't let fear or fantasy blind you to the truth. A stupid relationship will disguise itself as love, but behind the scenes, it slowly destroys. So ask yourself, does this connection make me wiser, stronger, and more at peace? Or is it breaking me, slowly but surely? Because deep down, you already know the answer. If you've ever been stuck in a relationship that drained your soul, comment below, I choose peace over pain. Your story might help someone else walk away from the wrong person. Like this video. Subscribe for more relationship clarity and Stoic wisdom. And remember, the wrong relationship won't just break your heart, it'll block your destiny